What if the housing market everyone thought would never slow down is quietly changing right in front of us? Not with a loud crash, not with breaking headlines, but with small shifts that are starting to add up. Across California, something different is happening. Homes are sitting longer, buyers are hesitating, and sellers are adjusting in ways we haven't seen in years. The energy has changed. It's no longer a race to buy at any price. It's a moment of pause, of questions, of what happens next. And when that question enters the market, everything begins to shift. Today we're looking at 10 California cities where prices are cooling, pressure is building, and the story of real estate is starting to turn in a way most people didn't expect. Number 10, Los Angeles. Los Angeles still looks like a powerhouse market on the surface, but underneath, the dynamics are shifting in ways that matter. Inventory has increased significantly, giving buyers more choices than they've had in years. Homes that once attracted multiple offers within days are now sitting for weeks, sometimes months, forcing sellers to rethink pricing strategies. Even a small percentage drop in a high-value market like Los Angeles can translate into tens of thousands of dollars lost, which is why price reductions are becoming more frequent. Rising mortgage rates have also reduced buyer affordability, shrinking the pool of qualified buyers. At the same time, many potential buyers are holding back, expecting prices to fall further. This shift in psychology is crucial because markets are driven as much by sentiment as by numbers. What we're seeing isn't a crash, but a slow transfer of power from sellers to buyers. Negotiation is returning, urgency is fading, and the once one-sided market is becoming more balanced. Over time, this kind of shift can lead to broader price corrections, especially if economic pressure continues. Number 9. Stockton. Stockton is showing signs that closely resemble the early stages of a market slowdown. Known for being heavily impacted during the 2008 housing crash, Stockton has a history that makes any shift here worth watching. Currently, home prices are softening, and a noticeable percentage of listings are undergoing price reductions before selling. Properties are also staying on the market longer, indicating weaker demand compared to the aggressive buying seen during the pandemic. Back then, buyers from more expensive regions flooded into Stockton seeking affordability, driving prices up quickly. Now, higher interest rates and economic uncertainty are reversing that trend. Local incomes are struggling to keep pace with elevated housing costs, which limits how much buyers can spend. Perhaps the most important change is psychological. Buyers are no longer rushing to secure a deal. Instead, they are waiting, comparing options, and expecting better prices in the future. This hesitation slows down transactions and can create a downward pressure on prices over time. Stockton may not be in crisis, but it is clearly transitioning into a more cautious and buyer-influenced market. Number 8. Riverside. Riverside experienced rapid growth as an affordable alternative to coastal cities, but it is now facing the consequences of that expansion. Inventory levels have risen sharply, meaning more homes are competing for fewer buyers. Properties are staying on the market longer, and sellers are increasingly willing to adjust prices to attract interest. During the boom years, investors played a significant role in driving demand, purchasing homes with the expectation of rising values. Now, many of those investors are stepping back or exiting the market altogether, reducing overall demand. Higher mortgage rates are also limiting what buyers can afford, particularly in suburban areas where budgets are already stretched. The shift in Riverside is not dramatic, but it is meaningful. The sense of urgency that once defined the market is fading, replaced by caution and selective buying behavior. When both investors and traditional buyers slow down at the same time, it creates a ripple effect that impacts pricing and sales activity. Over time, this can lead to gradual price adjustments, especially if supply continues to outpace demand. Number 7. Bakersfield. Bakersfield has long been seen as one of California's most affordable housing markets, but even it is now experiencing strain. Over the past few years, home prices have risen faster than local incomes, reducing affordability for many residents. At the same time, higher mortgage rates have significantly increased monthly payments, making it harder for buyers to qualify for loans. As a result, demand is weakening, and homes are beginning to stay on the market longer. Sellers who once had strong negotiating power are now facing more cautious buyers who are unwilling to stretch their budgets. The key issue in Bakersfield is the gap between income and housing costs. When that gap widens too much, the market slows, because fewer people can afford to buy. This creates pressure on sellers to lower prices or offer incentives to close deals. While Bakersfield is not experiencing a sharp decline, the conditions are shifting toward a more balanced or even buyer-friendly market. Over time, this adjustment could lead to modest price declines, especially if affordability challenges persist. Number 6, San Jose, at the center of Silicon Valley, is experiencing a shift driven by changes in the tech industry and broader economic uncertainty. For years, high salaries and strong job growth fueled demand for housing, pushing prices to some of the highest levels in the country. However, recent layoffs, remote work trends, and concerns about job stability are beginning to affect buyer confidence. Homes are taking longer to sell, and the intense bidding wars that once defined the market are becoming less common. While prices remain high, the pace of growth has slowed significantly. Many potential buyers are choosing to wait rather than commit to large financial decisions during uncertain times. This hesitation is important because tech workers have historically been a major driver of demand in San Jose. When their confidence weakens, even slightly, it can have a noticeable impact on the market. The result is a cooling effect that may lead to price adjustments if current trends continue. San Jose's situation highlights how closely housing markets are tied to local industries and economic conditions. Number 5. Ventura offers coastal living and a desirable lifestyle, but its housing market is not immune to broader economic pressures. Inventory is increasing, giving buyers more options and reducing the urgency to make quick decisions. Homes are staying on the market longer, and sellers are becoming more flexible with pricing. In addition to typical market factors, rising costs such as insurance, property taxes, and maintenance are making homeownership more expensive than many buyers anticipated. These additional expenses are causing some potential buyers to reconsider or delay their purchases. While prices have not dropped significantly, the rate of increase has slowed, signaling a shift toward a more balanced market. The key factor in Ventura is the combination of high home prices and rising ownership costs. When affordability becomes a concern, demand naturally decreases, which can lead to softer pricing over time. The market is not in decline, but it is clearly transitioning away from the rapid growth seen in previous years. Number 4. Oakland. Oakland is experiencing a more noticeable slowdown compared to many other California cities. Home prices have already declined in certain areas, and demand has weakened significantly. Several factors are contributing to this shift, including migration trends, economic changes, and concerns about safety. Buyers are becoming more cautious, and homes that once sold quickly are now sitting on the market for longer periods. Sellers are adjusting expectations, often lowering prices to attract interest. The difference in Oakland is that the change feels more immediate and visible. It is not just a gradual cooling, it is a clear pullback in activity. This highlights how quickly a market can shift when multiple pressures come together. While some areas are stabilizing, the overall trend suggests a move toward a buyer's market. Oakland's situation serves as an example of how local factors can amplify broader economic trends, leading to faster and more noticeable changes in housing conditions. Number 3. Sacramento. Sacramento experienced a major housing boom during the pandemic, as buyers moved away from more expensive cities in search of affordability and space. That surge in demand pushed prices up rapidly. However, the conditions that fueled that growth are now changing. Inventory is rising as more homeowners decide to sell, while demand is slowing due to higher interest rates and economic uncertainty. Buyers are no longer rushing to make offers. Instead, they are taking their time and exploring options. This shift in behavior is creating a more balanced market where sellers must compete for attention. Prices are beginning to stabilize and, in some cases, decline slightly. The key dynamic in Sacramento is the reversal of pandemic-driven trends. As remote work becomes less dominant and affordability becomes a concern, fewer people are relocating to the area. This reduces demand and puts pressure on prices. While the market is not collapsing, it is clearly transitioning into a slower, more cautious phase that could lead to further adjustments if current trends continue. Number 2. San Diego. San Diego remains one of the most desirable housing markets in California, but even here, the momentum is changing. Prices are still high, but the pace of growth has slowed, and inventory is quietly increasing. Homes that once sparked intense bidding wars are now seeing fewer offers, and some sellers are beginning to reduce prices to stay competitive. Rising interest rates are playing a major role, limiting how much buyers can afford, even in a high-income market. At the same time, the cost of living, including insurance, taxes, and everyday expenses, is making buyers more cautious. Many are choosing to wait, hoping for better conditions or lower prices. This shift in behavior is subtle but powerful. San Diego is not declining sharply, but it is cooling, and that cooling reflects a broader change in buyer confidence. When even premium markets begin to slow, it suggests that the overall housing cycle is entering a new phase, one defined less by urgency and more by careful decision-making. Number 1. San Francisco. San Francisco has gone from one of the hottest housing markets in the country to one of the most closely watched for signs of decline. For years, tech wealth and limited housing supply pushed prices to extreme levels, but now that foundation is shifting. Remote work has reduced the need to live near offices, and many high-income residents have moved out, weakening demand. At the same time, layoffs and uncertainty in the tech sector have made buyers more cautious. Inventory is rising, homes are sitting longer, and price reductions are becoming more common. What makes San Francisco different is how quickly sentiment has changed, from buy at any cost to wait and see. Even small drops here can mean massive dollar losses, which is why sellers are feeling the pressure. The market isn't collapsing overnight, but it is clearly cooling, and that cooling reflects a deeper shift in how people view living, working, and investing in one of America's most iconic cities. So what does all of this really mean? It doesn't mean the market is crashing overnight, but it does mean the story has changed. The urgency that once drove prices higher is fading, and in its place, something quieter is taking over: caution, patience, and negotiation. For buyers, this could be the first real window of opportunity in years. For sellers, it's a reminder that timing matters more than ever. And for everyone watching, it's clear that no market, no matter how strong it once seemed, is immune to change. The next few months will decide whether this becomes a deeper correction or just a pause before the next cycle. But one thing is certain: the California housing market is no longer moving the way it used to. And if you're paying attention right now, you're already ahead of most people.